What's up, beautiful people? My name is Mdluli, and you are tuned into the Brazen Black podcast. We are here at Artistry for the BAI Heatskrs Film Showcase, and I'm honored to be seated right here with Cyzo, who is behind the amazing animation UBUNTU. Cyzo, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Yourself?
I'm good. UBUNTU is amazing.
Thank you.
It is amazing. And I just want to start with how it felt to be in a room of people receive your piece of art so well. Because for me, from the first second, I was like, oh, this is where we are. And I was like drawn into it. And I realized the room was so quiet because everyone is just like, wow. And then it's like, oh, do we clap? No, wait. Do we clap now? Because we were just that engaged. How does it feel to receive such warmth and positivity from an audience?
It feels quite validating because now I know that I'm actually not crazy. So, my thinking, my ideas, my process, whatever it is, it actually works. So it felt quite great, also because we create these things in like a vacuum and I get to sit there and watch people actually receive the product, not as like ideas or whatever, but like as actually finished as a finished thing. And it's like a piece of entertainment, which is quite amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. And with the session that we had afterwards, what I had noticed, for example, when you were mentioning, someone had asked you about the references that you use from other animations and things like that. Personally, it was the first time I was in a room filled with other people who really, really love animation more than I do. It's not that I don't love it, but there's always someone who loves something more than you do. You think you love it, and then you meet a stan, and it's like, oh, okay, wow. So... And that was great for me to see as well. And you had mentioned that there is an audience for things like animation, but it's a matter of it finding them because of being platformed, all that kind of stuff. And can you rather comment on how gratifying having UBUNTU, it's a commission project, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So how gratifying was that to have an amazing piece of work be commissioned?
Well, it's gratifying because you get your bills paid,
Of course.
And it's an opportunity to actually make something, It's someone saying, I see value in what you're doing and I'm willing to pay money for it. So it makes all the hard work over the years quite worth it. Because now you actually know, oh, I have built something that actually works, it functions, it can be sold, and it has value. Even overseas, so it means we can participate in the economy of animation, internationally and locally. So it's extremely gratifying.
Yeah. And so we are Brazen Black art. And I believe that UBUNTU fits right in there as Brazen Black art in the best way. And why was it important for you to make UBUNTU so strikingly black? I mean, like, let me just say it as it is, because I believe that there was like representation for a lot of us as we saw that in that room. Why was that important for you guys to prioritize that?
Because that's what Black Native is actually about. That was the reason why I started Black Native. I needed to find a way to actually create and make things on my own terms, in my own way that I actually cared about. If you look at other countries like Korea and Russia, those guys are pushing their own agenda and they don't care if you like them or not. So we sort of have the same kind of mentality, and we've been fortunate enough to find people locally and all over the world that actually feed into the same narrative, who see the same objectives that we do, and sort of what our work has been about since then. So now we just do it because it's what we do, Wow. It's no longer a thing that we think about, oh, we need to do this, we just do it. And it just becomes a part of the economy, and it becomes part of the world and the ecosystem. So wherever people go, they just find the content. And that's the only way we're going to get to a point where we create content that represents us by just making it and letting it live in spaces. And that should just be a norm.
Yes.
So literally creating content like that should just be a norm. And that's how we actually approach it, that it's actually a norm. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm glad that you say that that's what you guys do at Black Native, and it's what you've owned. And I want to say thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes. And the more people see your guys' work, more of us will see that it does exist. And we are thankful that you've decided to own that and you know, I'm giving you your flowers.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know
Thank
what
you
I
so
mean?
much. Also,
And that's actually very inspiring. And so we had seen the intricate process behind animating Ubuntu and animation as a whole. And I just would love for you to just comment on the importance of having a really great team beyond how skilled they are and how that contributes to the outcome of a project such as Ubuntu.
yeah, man. I think for Black Native, the team that we have, they pretty much makes or breaks any production. Literally, the product that we sell as Black Native was cultivated from the strengths and the talent of the people that we work with. You know, to the point where when you're actually planning a project, you do certain things or come up with certain ideas because you know how and who's going to execute on these ideas. You know, so you actually have information on the process of executing ideas based on the people that you actually work with. You know, and without them, this doesn't really happen. You know, I write all these things and I have all these amazing ideas, but without those guys, it doesn't really happen. You know, and everybody plays such a significant role in anything that we do. You know, so one of the highlight moments from Ubuntu is the fight scene. One person did that by themselves, you know,
Sure.
only because he was so enthusiastic about it. He was so energetic about it. Shout out Sandile Combination.
Yeah,
The guy is a beast, man, you know, and that was his passion, his blood, sweat, and tears working on that tirelessly. He was actually delivering work above and beyond what was required of him for the weekly submissions. You know what I mean? And it came out so well. That's a result of his hard work. And without him, that doesn't happen, you know. You can say that about every single person on the team. They show up consistently, you know. They believe in the vision. They believe in what we are doing. And they love what they're doing. So they're the reason we are here.
That's amazing. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
A tale is all this time.
all
And
this
you can
time.
never go wrong with that. I would just like for you to maybe briefly comment on how long it took for all of you guys to put Ubuntu together. Because this is just like in a colloquial sense, like people love animation, but they don't really, it's either they don't know or they don't understand how, is rigorous the word, how like it's just a lot of steps and a lot of work. So please enlighten us on that for those who do not know.
So Ubuntu took 10 months to make. And by 10 months, I mean 10 full months, as in we worked every single day for those 10 months, Monday to Monday, no breaks. Different team members come on board for different parts of the process.
Yeah.
But I can say I was involved from day one until day zero, till the final written submission
Naturally. Naturally.
to the client. And it happens in phases, you know. Different team members come for different parts. Early on, it's just myself brainstorming with some team members about what the concept's gonna be. You write the thing, you know. Then you do a lot of research to actually help support and visualize the ideas. Then you go into concept art, character design, and then that's like what 2 to 3 months down the drain, already gone. Then you spend the next 2 months doing storyboarding, trying to get the film right, because the storyboard is where we actually make the film. You know.
Yeah.
And then after that, cool, you have your animatic now, your storyboard, you have the characters. Somewhere in there, you must do backgrounds, right? So you do backgrounds, it's part of the process, and then the team starts actually animating. The part where we actually make these characters move and come to life and all of that. While they do that, somebody's coloring the backgrounds, you know. By that point, we're like, what, 6 months in? Doing all of that, you know, and then once the animation is done, they must color the animation, clean up the frames. Then when they're done, I must take all of that with the backgrounds, put them together, render out the shots, then take that, put that into a timeline for editing, sound design, grading, you know. And the thing about animation is that like every single pixel on screen was actually handmade. So if something is wrong or something is not where it should be, it means somewhere in the pipeline of either animation, background design, background coloring, somewhere there, we must go back to that process, fix that thing, then reinsert it back into the whole pipeline. Sometimes we must redo the whole thing because, you know what I mean? So you can imagine the costs. I know. You can imagine the cost implications, time implications, you know. So that's why it's really important to be very well organized and to have a good team. And hey, yeah, that's why you work around the clock.
Yeah.
You know, by the time you're by month number 9, everyone's tired, nobody wants to work anymore. But you have to hold the team together, and then we're doing like revisions. Like, oh, maybe this doesn't work. Let's try
Yeah.
this. Doesn't work. Let's try this.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe the past couple of weeks, it's just comping. Someone's running around to get a shot done.
Wow,
Or
we are still like going.
trust
like,
me,
whoa.
we will
I
animate
hope
down
you guys
to
are listening
the
to this.
we will animate down to the last hour
Sure.
if we have to. You know, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's like everything's on fire until it's not. You know, and when things are on fire, it's like you must have faith that like what you're doing actually works, and the pressure that comes with that as a director and as a leader, it's like you're getting to a point it's like, guys, it's not working, or like they'll be like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. You have to be like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. You know,
Yeah.
just trust me. You know, and that happens all the way until the very end. And in some cases, when you work on things like this, it's like the client bought into your idea, but they weren't sure about what you were selling. You know, only once you execute and they see the thing, they're like, oh, that's what you meant. They're like, yes, that's what I
So
meant.
you even have to defend, not or motivate your work even to the client.
Selling animation is very difficult,
Sure.
right? I mean, it's similar to film in a way because selling something people haven't seen and you're asking for
Yeah.
a lot of money. But with animation, it's like everybody has the idea of what it should be because,
Yeah.
you know, we love the magic of it. You know, it's rough to tell the client, hey, you can't do that, even though you're paying for it. We can't do that. It's not feasible. Like, why? I'm like, you don't have the money for it. We don't have the time for it. You know what I mean? And it's like, then you must guide them through the idea, but through the actual lens of animation. Here's what you
Yeah.
want, but here's what's actually
Actually gonna-
possible.
Yeah.
You know, and here's how long it will take to get it done. You know, and that means like building trust with your clients and value with your clients. And that's where things like Ubuntu come in, where
Yeah.
it's a client we've had for about 5-6 years. Now they trust us. Now they're like, cool, you
Yeah.
guys go do whatever you want. But it took a long time to
Get there, yeah. I can imagine. And I'm just curious because I went to film school and I have some animation friends, you know.
Shout out to animation friends.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, because a lot of them, I do believe that they would align with the cause that a Black native, like, works with, right? So I'm just keen on asking, are you guys open in general? This doesn't have to be for my friends, even though, like, you know, I'm just gonna, like, put them on low key. But seriously, have you guys ventured into maybe, I don't know if scouting is the word, or coaching, or incubating, you know, animators who want to make such work as well with like the same theme, messaging, or anything like that? Like, is that something you guys have gotten into?
Yo, like, I think maybe in a day, I get like 3 emails
Really?
from everybody from even internationally
Sure.
looking for work. You know, either looking for work, internships, collaborations, whatever it is. Sadly speaks to the reality of an industry we have an influx of talent and enough work to support so many different ventures. Ideally, that's what we should be doing, right? Because we always want to look out for talent.
Yeah.
The only reason why we can create the work that we do is because we mostly work with veterans, people who know the industry, and it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't create a lot of room for interns and new talent to come in. But on new projects, we do try to bring in new people. On Ubuntu, we had Kiara and I'm forgetting somebody. I'm so sorry. Who are both juniors on the project. This was their first time working on a project like this, right? And we have that with every single project. We try to do our bits, but unfortunately, certain things are just out of our hands. You know, so but like it also just depends on the project we're working on. The bigger it gets, the more we try to bring in. You know, if someone is really, really good and we see a need for their skill and talent,
Yeah.
then sharp. You know, but sometimes the thing is, talent isn't everything. You know, and I think a lot of creatives don't really understand that because everybody will die on the hill that their pixels are the best. You know, but a lot of creatives don't really understand why they get employed, why they had to come to a place. You know, you can be great on the timeline, on ArtStation, wherever, but if I give you a brief, you can't execute and you cannot follow instructions, you're taking somebody's slots who can actually do that. You know? So bringing people in is quite a process because a lot of the people that we work with have earned their slots
Yeah.
where they are right now, you know. So it's very difficult to just hire somebody or like to bring on somebody based on talent alone. Personal experience has taught me talent doesn't really matter at all. I pick people based on how reliable they are.
Yeah.
If I can sleep at night, you're my person.
I agree with you there. I actually agree very strongly with that. And obviously, I want more people to see Ubuntu.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
And the next time that we'll be seeing it, you guys better be there. Okay, it's amazing. It's immersive. It's exceptional. Do we have a question?
Yes, please. Can I just have just one
Yes,
question?
of course.
Okay. Benjamin, just to ask, man, like with the current state of the industry, right, and also with AI, ne?
I was waiting for this one.
Yeah, no, because I mean that's because I'm curious, you know, like I mean, how do you think animation's gonna do, like, with you animators and competing with these computers, like I mean, with these machines, AI machines now, you know, because I mean, one won't be able to tell the difference if it's something was man-made or if something was generated in AI, or is there a way of telling it? Like, but how you guys gonna? Yeah, basically that's my question.
Okay, so animation and AI have a similar struggle. On the production side, people don't really understand what animation is in the same way they don't really understand what AI is, right? People don't understand what AI cannot do because you've only seen what it can do, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of things you see are out of context. Remember, like a couple of years ago, there was the big hoo-ha about 3D, 3D TVs. It was everywhere. You couldn't get away from it, right? Then at some point there was VR, right? And the thing about those things is that like they don't scale. If something doesn't scale, it isn't gonna get very far. It needs to scale into like our everyday lives, right? There's always a cycle or something like that a disruptor comes in, right? AI is similar, except AI is actually a disruptor and it is actually functional, right? Just not in the way that people think it is. We use AI, like we all use ChatGPT for like to help out with writing or whatever in some areas. Sometimes we don't have a concept artist. We'll just get vague ideas from ChatGPT or whatever. You know what I mean? It has its function and its purpose in certain areas, but it just isn't in the way that people think it is. And the other thing that AI is struggling with is replicating the human experience, right?
Yeah.
When you're looking at AI, it may look amazing and it may look close to believable, but there's something about you innately that says something is off here.
It
I just
lacks-
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
That being said, you can't ignore the rapid growth of AI, you know, and you need to figure out where it fits in the economy of what we actually do.
Yeah.
You know, but is it going to replace animation or is it like competition? If you want it to be, it will be. You know, I'm not very concerned about it right now because even now we are seeing how AI actually functions in the economy of animation.
Yeah.
You can see the kind of range that it has, you know, versus actual animation. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like if you have your head on your shoulders quite right properly or whatever that is, you should be cognizant enough to understand AI's place and position
Yeah.
in the animation marketplace
Yeah.
and maneuver accordingly.
And then he's happy with your answer.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. I want to, in closing, I would like, again, I'm just thinking about the many animators who want to reach that veteran level in an ecosystem. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly rather, but existing in a world that we still have to push and advocate and fight and prove and motivate. What would you say to motivate them to keep pushing?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm kidding. There's so our mantra, dream, create, conquer, right? What it embodies is a clean canvas, you know, to be able to manifest your ideas or your dreams
Yeah.
physically. You know, you dream something up, you're able to create it and put out into the world. There's literally nothing anybody can do for you that you can't do for yourself. There's always a way around something, you know. You just have to have a certain level of grit to see it through. You know what I mean? And I think, personally for myself, for most of my life, I spent a long time looking outward. Only when I began looking outward do you find the answers, you know. Your way of doing something, your version of decision making, your version of whatever you are selling, presenting in any capacity, that is the right way. That's the product. You know what I mean? Just test it enough times, fail as much as you can. Even though failing really does suck, do it so you know what works, what doesn't work early on. There's someone out there who's gonna see value in what you do. Then they're gonna come and buy. The right people will find you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all on you, especially because there's so many tools today to like create things, to make things. You know what I mean? You can learn about animation online. Nothing
Yeah.
is literally stopping you.
Yeah.
And there's so many avenues now for animation. Before, a big thing like distribution used to be a problem. We've got TikTok. We've got all these platforms for you to actually create value for yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the world is changing in a way where like you now have so many different avenues where the old way of doing things is literally dying. The new way is here, and it's opened up so many avenues for people to actually create, get their product where it needs to get, to be seen by so many different people. Whereas before we couldn't, you know?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you competed with generations for time slots. On SABC, you could get it there. Today, you make something, you send to your phone, you post, you know,
Yeah.
you have access to the whole world. So nothing's literally stopping you. Just be brave.
Yeah.
Just be brave.
Be brave. Be bold. I
It's
guess
gonna suck, but be brave.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
You
that
know,
was a-
being a creative, I think it's like almost like a rite of passage to feel like duped at times. Other times you feel doubtful. Other times you feel crazy for wanting to push what you want to push. But what matters is if it's what you want to do and what you believe in, you will find the right people. You will, you know, break through and make that dream and passion of yours come true.
You know what I would say, right?
Uh-huh.
I think generally people want to replicate results, right? We want to replicate success of something, right? But like when someone is going through the process of creating whatever they're making, right? The failures of, we don't want to be next to them. Everybody wants to be next to winners. So seemingly when you've looked like you've won, that's when everybody comes. But you actually made in those moments when nobody gives a damn, nobody's there, and it's
Yeah.
just you know, and it's just rough and it's dark, and rent is due, or whatever's going on, nobody's there, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go through the hardship of that process, you know. Unfortunately, that process doesn't discriminate. It does not care, you know what I mean? And it's actually where you actually get, it sharpens you, you know. Once you survive that, you know, oh, I can do it again. The trick about this, in my opinion, honestly, you only need to be right just once. Just once, and then everybody's gonna come through, you know, and then you will shine.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you will shine.
Yeah. I mean, well, hope, lights at the end of the tunnel, aspiration, all the good things. And I believe that Ubuntu also does touch on like the need. There's like a lot of like support or togetherness, a feel
Community.
of togetherness. That community. And I believe that with what you're saying, that's also another thing that can help you get through everything and until you reach your
You know,
success.
in a lot of what we do and the way that we interact and meet with people in our currency, even my currency personally,
Yeah.
this community, the people around me,
Yeah.
the relationships. We need people to make these things,
Yeah.
you know, and you need to have a certain level of humility to put yourself in certain situations that may not favor you right now, but like it's give and take, you know, we garnish each other, we take care
Yeah.
of each other, you know, and I think in today's economy where everything is just so cutthroat, people forget that so much, you know, and the way I was able to build Black Native was through people, community, because in the beginning there was nothing. There was nothing to speak of. There was no business except me saying, hey, I want to do ABCD, you know?
Yeah.
And people along the way believed in what we were doing, and they offered their time and their skill and their knowledge, you know. Jeannie is actually a director herself, you know, but she's still able to come onto our project and be like, hey, I like to animate on this, it looks amazing, you know. Not as a director, but trust what you are doing, trust your direction, and support whatever that is till the finish line.
Yeah.
And we all do that for each other, you know.
Yeah.
Knowing your role and position within your community is also important. When you're called upon, at the time you're called upon, and just showing up to your maximum abilities. You know, you cannot. I feel like in today's day and age,
Yeah.
you cannot afford to be mediocre. That's
You
like the worst
can't.
thing you can be.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And considering how much mediocre content we have out there, it is so easy to stand out. It's literally it's greatness has a price, and you have to pay it. That's
I
it.
agree. Yeah. And with that being said, the next time Ubuntu has a chance for you to go and see it, please go and see it. Do not walk run. In fact, fly, float, do whatever it is. And if you see it, you'll see what I'm saying. That you see exactly. So don't bore me. Do the right things. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your time and bringing us in on your knowledge and the great work that you do, and greener pastures for everyone at the group that you are part of. It's I'm excited for your guys' future, in all honesty. And yeah, guys, do the right things. And that's us.
Thank you guys.
Bye.